Okay, hi, hello, good evening. Again, I guess. Yeah, sure. Unless it's the first video you've seen, in which case you're in for what? For some, don't know. I think okay, 1 second. Let me just change my face. Get into the mic. Find my face. Come back. Hello. Hi there. Uh, hmm. Shut my hair. Put pins in it. Put pins in it. Okay. So, right, excuse the bit of a mess. I sort of half cleared it up, and I was like, it's right, well, practical. I didn't think of that at the time, but it's the excuse. I'm coming with now. There's a there's a red cabbage here. Wow, it's heavy. There's a red cabbage here. I don't know why. But I haven't put it away, and it's wrapped quite heavily in plastic, which I don't know if that does any benefit to the red cabbage. I think it'd probably make it rot quicker. It's quite thin plastic too. Anyway, we're not talking about a cabbage today. All the price of it thereof, and that's red cabbage anyway. So whole different ball game that. Um, we're actually talking about a theory of mine today. I guess I won't change my face. I'll do it anyway because I said I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word, so do you know what I mean? I'll try and stick to that. So here we go. Changing my face. Right. Right. Oh yeah, there's people watching. This is the okay. Today we are talking about science fiction or science fact. Mm. Discussing the afterlife and the premise of it, therefore after, for there, for after, for there, for that's a load of rubbish, but I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know. But, let me put these away. The afterlife, heaven, hell, limbo, death, all these things, are they real? It's something that I've pondered myself for not a while, because despite being moderately theological, right, and interested in religion and God and stuff, because I thought there's got to be some merit to it. Do you know what I mean? Like people have, just fought wars forever. Um, they, apparently you've done some big feats of interest and stuff, and I really believed in that stuff. So I thought, who am I to say it's a load of bollocks? You know what I mean? And everybody says it's a load of bollocks. So I don't want to be there on it then. You know what I mean? I'll try something else. If they're going that way, I'll go this way. And then, oh, whoa, look at this stuff. And you go into a church. I don't know if you've ever been in a church. Quite a lot of them are quite impressive, actually. There's like all gold stuff everywhere, statues on the walls and stuff, and I don't know. I kind of like it. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, but no, we're not getting into that. Okay, we're not getting into that. What are we talking about? Afterlife. Yeah. So, is there a heaven? And yeah, for a while, despite being into the idea of there's some sort of moral agenda or objective, or even some sort of like overriding sort of like pattern or something to life. It makes sense. But I didn't really think heaven was going to be a thing. I wasn't too optimistic because honestly, I don't know. I didn't really think about it too much. And then I started to think about well, I'll tell you what, I had a dream, honestly, and it me up, pardon my language. Really quite freaked me out a little bit. Um and it was like a demon came to me, honestly. A demon came to me and it really freaked me out. I don't know what it was, but it was an apparition and it was sort of like a waking nightmare thing. Like quite it was a bit like pardon me. I felt like I could see this presence outside. Now, where I live as well is potentially, I don't know if it's quite haunted, but like sometimes it feels quite spooky, I guess. And I don't know, I don't, honestly, I'm not really interested in like meddling with that sort of thing, and I've never been like too believing in that sort of stuff either, or like looking for it and everything. But I don't know. Recently, I've been having more uh, paranormal or like apparitional things, and honestly, I thought I'm just going a bit mad. I've been like not sleeping or something. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, so I started to think about it, and I was like trying to rationalise it really. I'm just a little nervous, like, oh, there's a demon outside my house. So, anyways, there's this demon. I reach down, and I clutch onto something, and I'm like, okay, that's quite scary. And then I sort of calm myself down and I get out of this sort of horrible sense of dread, and then like, and then it was okay. But then I was thinking, like, what if there are actually like spirits, and there is an afterlife? And I sort of came up with the initial premise of what if, like, because I don't know how time works. Do you know what I mean? I didn't come up with time. I didn't make time. I don't know. Like every passing moment, the constant of passing moments. Like I was thinking, what if there was like a trail of life, maybe, and every moment as we pass on, time itself is sort of remembering us, and it sort of has this like memory of like our character and our movements and stuff like this, and like life itself knows us. Do you know what I mean? And then I was thinking, yeah, maybe after we die, there's like a living memory of us, which sort of is in just like the afterlife sort of thing. And I was thinking, yeah, maybe there is an afterlife. And it sort of kind of worried me a little bit. Um, and then I don't know if I was thinking about the time trail thing. I think that's what I'd come up with recently. Um, but yeah, I did get really quite concerned about the premise of an afterlife, and even more so the fact that if everything's died, do you know what I mean? And where do we go when we were to die? And like, how do we have to prepare for it? And like, what is going to be in the afterlife? What can you take with you in the afterlife? All this stuff really freaked me out, and I don't honestly know what that would be. And obviously, he's like, oh yeah, don't stress it, it's not a problem. Um, yes, maybe it's a big if, but just don't worry about it, don't worry about it. But then, I don't know, then recently, I had this premise, this idea of not only there was a living memory of us, but there was like a rate of time, right? Which us as human flesh beings, like human matter, we can only perceive like a certain like rate of time, sort of thing. Like we can only see a certain amount of colours, like dogs and stuff can see less colours, and other animals can see different colours. Like bees can see like a bigger spectrum, a bigger spectrum of like they can see all like ultraviolet stuff and all this sort of thing. So then I was thinking, what if there's like a rate to time, right? And there's beings which can actually like move faster, but not in like a physical sense, not like faster than the speed of light, but faster than the speed of life. Do you know what I mean? And there's actually like other planes of life, okay, which are like moving faster than us, and we're sort of floating, buoyant on the surface of reality. But if we were to move like faster, there's other like multitudes of energy and stuff, which is kind of strange, I guess. But then I was thinking, if you've ever done like LSD and all this sort of thing, you start seeing like trails, and you start seeing things that aren't there, and like you can start manipulating color and shape and stuff with your brain and stuff. And then I'm thinking, what if that's your brain's actually picking things up faster than you were doing before, and you're having a bit more of a memory of like life or something, and like where we are adjusted to just the constant. I don't know. Maybe there's a higher rate to life. I don't know. Um, yeah, hmm, I don't know. Because yeah, if you slow down life, okay. If I'm just thinking now, if you slow down time, I suppose you would sort of like, you'd have like, it'd be like the window screen where it's ding 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 ding. You know what I mean? It's sort of dragging. So you'd be like, you'd be like really fat and stuff, I guess, and like all these like fat blobby like hands and stuff moving around. But then if you were faster than life, you could escape the moment and come back into the moment at the same time or something. But you wouldn't know it. Would you know it? Or do we all have spirits which are faster than us, which are living life fast enough, and every like past moment, you know, we would be able to go back to that point or something? I don't know. So anyway, I was firing off these texts when I was coming up with this idea, because I send people crazy texts, and sometimes they don't make any sense. Sometimes I think I give up halfway through writing them, and I'll just write the end of it, and then it won't make any sense to me or anyone else. But I'm like, oh well, I can't really be bothered, and I don't really know where it's going, because a lot of it is speculative and nonsensical potentially. Like this was the rate of life, I'm calling this. But yeah, so you know, you don't really expect an answer. Oh yeah, actually, I have heard that. Yeah, yeah, I did. Me and my mate, we tested for it the other week. Yeah, I jumped out of the car. He said 3, 2, 1, and boom, jumped out and boom, go again and change the radio. And he was, oh, what? Don't touch the radio, man. I'm trying to drive here. And yeah, that stuff doesn't happen every day, does it? Or does it? I don't know. They'd have to be pretty fast on that, so I wouldn't catch up with them anyway, or something. What? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Drink some water. Right. Blah 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 blah. Could there be thresholds to life and reality? I don't know. But yeah, if there were thresholds of perception, like spectrums of not only time but like life itself, then I don't know. There could be all different types of creatures living like on another like zone. Do you know what I mean? That we couldn't see, and there could be. Could there be? Would we see slower ones as well? I don't know. The faster ones, yeah, you'd see like they're just moving around so fast that we don't even see it. Fair enough. So there could be a whole other, just in completely another universe within our Earth that we never see, like gases and stuff that float too high for us to smell or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But what about slower stuff? Would we pick up the slower stuff, or would that matter in this world? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. That's I don't know. I haven't really thought of that. Slower, so we can perceive only a certain. No, I guess maybe it would be thicker. Maybe we'd be like suspended in this sort of like solution of life, and there would be stuff which are like beyond our threshold as well, like antimatter. Maybe. I don't know. They say everything's vibrations or something, don't they? No, I don't know. I don't think that's related. I don't think that would be related. God, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. Anyway. Blah 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 blah. When you die, you're dead. That's what he says. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't think that's. I said, yeah, I think so. Breaking that connection, no matter how many times it could be, how many times it could exist, would be pretty hard to tether. As in, like, once you sort of like broke the chain of life, you know, it would be probably kind of hard to bring it back. Maybe, but we'll get back into this. We'll get into this because what's the Frankenstein stuff? Do you know what I mean? If you can graft, I think things have to be living though to be grafted, don't they? So I think this might be redundant for whatever I'm about to say. That's another video entirely. Grafting and splicing stuff. Splicing stuff. And is it another video? Squibs. Right. Okay. So I've just had a thought further from an initial theory I've had about the afterlife before. I've just had an initial theory about the afterlife before. So, consider this, that there is possibly a speed of life, so to speak, that we are buoyant on, I guess, or receive the information at our rate and through time. Oh, Jesus, that's a lot to take in already. So consider this: there's potentially a speed of life, so to speak, that we're buoyant on. That's what I'm saying about. We can only take in a certain rate, and that's what we're physically that binds us in the material world. Okay, maybe. Okay, and that's why we're maybe everything was spirits, and we slowed down to the point where we have to matter. Oh yeah, they would say they like, well, yeah, man, bizarre. Anyway, receive the information. I should have written this down properly. All right. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to take some notes. And I'm going to try and have a proper stab at this. I should be I should be wearing a brown belt. I'm not wearing it. Today's title card. I don't know if that picked it up. I said, "Would you like today's title card?" I said. Oh, you did, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm cutting this bit out anyway, I don't know. Maybe I won't. It's warming, isn't it? When we do one take, it's like you're behind the scenes, isn't it? It's like we are together, working together. It's like you're almost like with me, but you're not with me, which is a shame because you could probably have some really good insight. So we can do at the end of the video, because obviously we haven't made it yet, and obviously you're not here. Yeah. So maybe you know, you could put your input in as well or something. Like then maybe I don't know, you could come round or something. I don't know, couple with you at a time, not too many because now I start getting confused. I've been looking, whoa, put that down, wait, whoa. Where's that come from? I've never even seen that before. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's almost like we're like behind, we're in a theatre or something. But I live here. Okay, right. No, focus now. Okay, so bear with me. You just I put some nondescript music up, maybe, and you can make a cup of tea or something. Do you drink tea? In fact, I'm gonna make a cup of tea. So it's gonna, but even longer. But just think, I'm gonna have to do more work now. I'm gonna have to find some music, or I'm gonna have to go. See, I'm doing it now, and I can't. It's gonna be one take. So, thanks a lot. So you could be putting the teas on now, and I've got to stress over this, okay? Because you haven't written nothing. What have you brought to the table? I'm starting to think I shouldn't even be working with you. I'm kidding. I'm going to put some tea on. But you should do the same. And then you can drink your tea. You can watch me go. What are you on about? And then I don't know. It's like we'll come back and have a bonding moment. Yeah. Okay. I'm just over here. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, here behind the scenes we actually have got a kitchenette over there. It's not bad. It's all right. Yeah, I own a fridge. I was talking about it, of on my photo blog the other day. Yeah, that's right. Someone said to me, "I'd like to see your photos. I'd like to join your grouping." I was like, "You can't do that. You can't do that. Not me. Seriously, I'm not on socials. I'm not on the socials. You see." The cat was boiled, by the way. The cat was boiled. And he's like, "But I just love to follow you. I'd love to follow you." And I said, "Well, if you must, but if that's the case, I'm gonna have to start putting photos out." Do you know what I mean? Because before it was just a small group of us. I mean, there was people following me, but I wasn't really, I couldn't really bring myself to actually put any photos out there. I've got photos in mind. Don't you mind that? Yeah, I've got photos in mind. Don't worry about that. I've got a whole book of photo sets that I'd like to do, honestly, because I'm that type of person. I'm into media, but I don't know. I'd like to be dealing with people, and frankly, I don't actually know anybody, but probably because I'm not on socials. But yeah, so I took a photo by the fridge, and I was like, "Ah, that's fridge me," and oh, jeez, I just face went. So I, I was taking a photo by the fridge. Jeez, man. Talking demons. I took a photo by the fridge. Okay, I took a photo by the fridge. I took a photo by the. I took a photo. I think I'm puffed out. What is that hairstyle? Who do you think you look like? Jack White or something, or I don't know. I don't know. Why does this camera? I look like really angry, and this camera. I think there's something strange going on here. I'm possessed. I'm possessed. Okay, kettle's boiling. Kettle is boiling. I'm supposed to be doing something, aren't I? Oh my god, this is 25 minutes long. My. This will be the extended. This could be the extended version. Okay, which is all I will probably release. Okay, because I don't know. Yeah, if you want to know about the afterlife, if you want to know about how time and life and all that sort of stuff works, you're gonna have to bear with me, okay? Because woo, I don't know why I did that. Woo, I was thinking of somebody else. Woo, and I don't have a, I don't have a brain. I don't know how to follow it up. Yeah, if you're gonna have to. It's hard stuff. It's taxing stuff. So I'm gonna just draw back a bit of your time. I've earned this time of your time. Maybe you can leave. You can leave if you want. But if you want this valuable information for no less than nothing a month, you're just going to have to wait till I drink my tea, I guess. I'm starting to reconsider even writing any notes. I'm just going to throw it together. I'm going to throw it together. Yeah. No, I'm going to take notes. What if I throw it together and then take notes, and then I can repeat them back to myself like I've been listening? I'm going to test you. I'm going to test you in a minute myself. You're really weird. There's something wrong with you. So this is to me, by the way, because do you remember you're not here? Or you could be. You should be. But you're not. See, now I don't know who I'm talking to. Oh, confusing. Afterlife. See? Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that, but I was practicing the song that I was going to do, but now you'll never hear it. So hopefully you heard that rendition of the overture sound. Whatever it is. Is that what that is? An overture goes over a tuer? What's a tuer? I don't know what a tuer is. Music, maybe, I don't know. Overture. Overture. It's not going to be on the test, but, you know. Overture. Okay. Right. So, initially, what have we got so far? This page of this book's up there. Okay. After life. After life and the rate of life. The rate of life. Theory. Theory. By me. Squibs. Yes. This is. I haven't even drunk tea yet. It's going to be hot. I forget it's hot. I'm not a flamingo. Can't drink boiling tea. I don't know why I did that. I was imagining it's like, do you know, like, not space juice. I wouldn't drink space juice. Okay. Honestly, I'm not really a big fan of space. I'm more of an Earth person. Do you know what I mean? If everyone's going to bugger off to space, I'll say, yeah, don't come back. Yeah. How about that? You messed this place up enough. And now you're leaving us. Don't be expecting to come back, because there will not be a reception, a warm welcome for you once we've sorted everything out, of course. Anyway, that's another story now. But we won't be covering it because obviously it's not on the brand. Okay, I don't know why I keep doing this face. Who's this guy? I don't know. I guess. I think. Do I? Don't think so. Don't talk to me like that. Freak me out. I mean, yes, you do know. You know me. But you don't not know me. Do you know what I mean? Well, I know that. I don't know if I know myself, but if I did know myself, I'd know that I wouldn't not know the fact that I did know myself. Okay? Clear? Paramount? No? Good. Right. I know there's the rate of life. We'll just put rate of life. Put point two. Two. Rate of life. Brackets. / buoyancy. Buoyant. Of human. Threshold. Threshold. What does that mean for us? And what was the point I said before? I said there was like life trails. Okay, memory, life's living. How can we put this? Living memory, life's consciousness of consciousness. Yeah, the consciousness and consciousness, and the reality of reality. No, the realization of realization. Okay, can't say that every day. Right, the consciousness, consciousness of consciousness and what was it? Realization of realization. Realization. That's like a bit of like an African woman, I guess. I can't do it again. Right. Realization. Okay. Next. Come on, point three. I'm excited for this now. Wow. Woo. Wow. Right. The rate of living and the rate of life. Okay. Information through time and the rate of life. Life trail, we've got that. The universe is conscious, we've got that. And leaves a living memory. We've got that down. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, if this is the case, then the afterlife is also simultaneously, all the time, with our time. I really should have expanded. This is really badly written. I can't believe I've actually fired this off to someone. Now I'm thinking, if this is the case, the afterlife is also simultaneously all of the time, within our time. All the time, comma, within our time, full stop. So what am I saying there? All the time, within our time. So what I mean is every second on our world, the energy trails of us, if they're hypothetically faster, if we can go faster than ourselves, they would be able to escape our existence. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be like a tree or like a floret, is what I said, I think, a bit further on. So now I have to repeat myself again. I don't know, I keep doing this face. Okay. When the floret. So, as our linear thing goes off, is, paths of all these alternative futures. Now, okay, floret. Floret time. In time. So now this is what I'm thinking. If there's a floret of time, okay, so not only is there essentially a memory of life, potentially, hypothetically, this is just hypothetical, isn't it? And a rate of life, so a faster and slower density of realization, and there could be like antimatteral beings, flittering around with our consciousness, and could any moment spring back, or, I could, enchant them to appear or something, or maybe they would have to be induced in some sort of fucking electrical storm or chemical drug or something, which would, bring them back into a bit of a slower matter. Do you know what I mean? Maybe with my own stupidity, I could, materialise something. You know what I mean? There's like a spirit flying around, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm coming into a stupidity cloud. Oh no, it's giving me all matter realisation. I'm gonna have to go to the human world." And then he appears, and he goes, "Oh, bollocks!" And then I go, "Ah!" Sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I feel sorry for him. But what if, at the same time, my positive energy gives spirit to a spirit, and it can fire off into, "Woo, I'm in the heavens!" Do you know what I mean? And he goes, "Wow, this is really weird. I haven't prepared for this at all." Whoa, my heart's going funny. Rate of life. Okay, so that's one thing. The buoyancy of time and the memory of bloody memory or something, whatever. And then the floret of time. So here we go. Floret of time. If there's a floret of time, a tree of existence, do you know what I mean? There's multitudes of like energy, bloody spirit balls or whatever. They wouldn't be balls, would they? They'd be human figures, I assume, because all of our matter has like energy, isn't it? I think that's what holds all of the bonds of like stuff together. No, it's energy, isn't it? So what if all of that can just dart off? Woohoo! We'd have all of these alternative versions of ourselves, okay, which potentially would all have different moral agendas, right? So what I'm saying is in the alternative worlds, in the heavens, right, in the afterlife, in the limbo world, there's multitudes of moral versions of ourselves. So heaven and hell could be existing not only after life, but during life as well, outside of time, you see. So when we die, we could not only potentially be in both heaven and hell at the same time, in all of our spirit forms, like like the soul separates and fragments, and we exist in all of the different planes of moral consciousness, whether we experience them all at the same time or not, or individually, that's a good question in itself, or our physical selves, our naive versions, ourselves, our vessels, our human forms, our moral consciousness would then attract to the moral counterpart of the spirit counterpart, and we could potentially, experience like it floating through a dream of, all of our different floret peoples. Do you know what I mean? So that's the floret thing, and then so floret was time is all the I don't want to say alternate. Well, I guess I don't know. Might be alternate realities, but we'll get to that in a whole different thing. We're just talking afterlife here and the science of the rate of life. Okay, and not the rate of life as we know it, but the threshold, the human threshold of perceptional. Wow, I've got to have crazy hair for this, man. Yeah, threshold of human existence, consciousness, and all that sort of good stuff. Right, what was it for? Moral, moral, what was it? Moral possibilities and attracted, results. Because where do you want to live, right? So now this is here we go. Here's a theological question for you, and a moral one. So prepare yourself. Would you prefer to live get this, a good world or a bad world? So you can write that in the comments if you want. 5. I don't know if there's going to be a 5th point, but I'm excited. Okay, because honestly, this is a lot to take in. This is a world first. This is a world first. I mean, it would technically be all the time and it would be forever, but I'd be finding this. Okay. Ooh, so when you do drugs, say like LSD, you see trails, but it's actually your brain seeing not only faster than light, but also of life, and has a memory of the what do I want to say? Not like the transpiring or stuff. You know what I mean? Not transgression. There's a memory of the bleeding experience. We'll say that. If this is the case, then maybe there are creatures that can operate faster. I think we said this outside of our bracket of living, and sort of exist on a faster spectrum, sort of thing. Blah 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 blah. So hypothetically, we're living and dying 1,000 times over. Okay. 5. Pardon me. Fast bugs. We're going to call this section. Fast bugs. Right. Because in another video, we're going to talk about the composition of human beings and animals and life. Okay? And I don't know how it works or when it works or any of that sort of stuff, but it's strange. So I mean, technically, we're talking about there's multiple universes outside there, so outside of our time and in the afterlife. So there could be other creatures of all different stuff that we don't really know about. So that's kind of daunting. Okay, but for the most part, let's just talk about simple organisms. Okay, so like bugs. Oh yeah, fast bugs. So there's loads of fast bugs. Okay, now imagine these fast bugs, right? They don't live off of physical matter, because physical matter is in the slow buoyancy world and they're in the fast buoyancy world. So they're actually living off of like the life force and like energy itself, just pure energy. Or are they? Because when they come back to the physical realm, they'll be eating physical stuff again. Okay, so there'll be some really fast bugs, right? Which I think be sucking energy like little energy vampires. Okay, sucking the life out of things, but it's too fast for us to realise. But that's why we're bound to the material plane. See, because we've had the life sucked out of us, or the next life, the afterlife sucked out of us, or something. Do you know what I mean? To a degree. Now, if that was the case, these like parasitical afterlife creatures, they would also be, if they were on the material plane, parasitical physical eaters, right? But what if they're still faster than us to be able to perceive, so we can't pick them up? So they'd be eating our slower selves. Do you know what I mean? So the cells of ourselves which are in the faster realm would be dying before we get to them. Do you know what I mean? So not only are they eating out the afterlife out of us in the energy sense, but also in the physical sense. Do you know what I mean? So if we to freeze time, we'd like degrade really quickly. Do you know what I mean? But we're in a constant, you know. So in every frame of pause to time, if you imagined we take a 30-second interval and we split that up into however many frames a second life went in, the previous frame would be so chocked full of like bugs that we can't see that, you know, we'd be crumbling to nothing in that instant, which could be a good thing, you know, because how many versions of ourselves do we want? I don't know, but if that is the case, we should probably we probably don't want that really, because we probably want to exist in the past. Do we want to exist in the past? I don't know. That's strange. Fast bugs, eating life force, eating the future, so eating past, in the faster world, in the fast place. Interesting. What do you think of that? Does it continue? Is there more? I think that was pretty much the end of it. So we're dying 1,000 times over. Instant blah 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 blah. What do you think of that? Back to my speed of life theory. Now, depending on what in life would have a threshold, or not, could depend on the afterlife. If there's no threshold, then there's potentially any number of speeds of ourselves in a complete moral range, and also I guess a flora of parts of life. So when you die, you could end up in any of these, and maybe you're destined to be, or maybe you don't. If things are just respectably slower than us, then we could just go to a world where there's already rotten. Oh yeah, that's all it is. It's a bit hard to get your head around. I don't know. Maybe I'm bad. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe you get it. Maybe you get it. It's interesting. I don't know. This though could, I guess, give plausibility to being healed. Oh, there is another coin. 6. Healing. Healing. Right. Now, okay. If there's creatures on the other plane, okay, and you're smart enough to perceive those creatures, then they could potentially instantaneously heal your physical matter, you know, and then in this realm, you know, you could be cured, and in the past you could potentially be cured as well because they're fast. That, you know, that's interesting. And always before I was thinking, yeah, healing, that sounds a bit like of a mumbo jumbo, but you know, it makes sense because on now 2 levels it makes sense because on 1 level there's like a symbiosis thing, which is another title for another video, symbiotic living, okay, and that's the key to like healthy life, I think. So if you can encourage creatures or selves or whatever to operate, you know, in conjunction with your body, then it's a healthier life, whatever, than them eating you, you know, because obviously that's perishable and it's not really gonna benefit anything. But now, also, what I'm saying is, if there's a speed of life, then there's potentially things that can actually heal you outside of time, which is amazing. There's a little piece of pie here. I don't really want to sweep on the floor because it's going to be back on the desk. It shouldn't really be eating on the desk. Oh, okay. Right, healing. So let's just go over them again. Let's test ourselves what we spoke about. The consciousness of consciousness and the realization of realization. Wow, okay. So that's life actually remembering us, you know. Because honestly, we're ignorant of what life is about. We're ignorant of what time is about, you know. So maybe there is some overriding consciousness, like watching over us. Because honestly, I always thought God. Well, my recent understanding of what God is, which we'll cover in another video if we want, is God is just like the pattern of life, like the nature of life, and like, you know, like what makes a magnet work and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And like, there being like, it's just like the direction of life or something, and why wouldn't you go towards that? It's how you make instruments work and all these sorts of things. And obviously, some might say, well, like a hammer, hammer can be used for work, but a hammer can be used for smashing heads in, and that's what my God is. But I'd argue and say, well, if you're smashing people's heads in, you're that's got its downsides. You know what I mean? It's got its downsides. I probably shouldn't have said that because it's going to encourage people to smash people's heads in, honestly. But no, there is a greater good, and that's good. And we've already said you want to live in a good world, or do you want to live in a bad world? Okay. And there's a moral agenda now. So wow, there's Afterlife 2, and I don't know what that 2 thing is. Yeah, haven't changed that. Boy, kid, more kid. 2. Okay. Yeah. No, not like that. Damn. Anyway, okay. I can't believe that because it happened, and the Afterlife's gonna remember that now. It's life trails. It's a freaking pirate. Consciousness of consciousness. The next one was the rate of life, the buoyancy of human consciousness. I think I'm being possessed, guys. I'm being possessed. So yeah, we covered that. The buoyancy of life. That's interesting. Because why wouldn't there be a physicality to matter? Do you know what I mean? There is a physicality to matter, and I think there's antimatter. So scientifically, I don't see why none of this couldn't be potentially possible. Interesting, isn't it? A flora of time. So yeah, then we've got the energy trails, and not only the trail of life, like the history of our motions. But if things were to move faster, then our spirit is going off in each and every direction forever, which is brilliant. Because maybe we could actually go back in time in that respect, if that was the case, and in a better time too. Brilliant. At any time. Amazing. That sounds alright. Moral possibility and attraction, and attracted result, or something. Attracted result. I don't know what I say. Moral possibility. So that's all of them, any of them, none of them, some of them, only the ones that fit you, and everything in between, potentially. So. And then fast bugs eating away at the future and the past. And then healing. Okay. Hopefully, if there is an afterlife, there's things in the afterlife which are looking after us. Maybe. But, I don't know, there's probably quite a lot of it. Probably quite a lot of it. Okay. So, what does that hold for us, and how can we explore that idea, and how can we use it to our advantage? I don't know. And it's something, maybe we'll come back to it. I'll think on about it. You give me what you think of it. Hopefully it's clear, and it's not like some of how I've written my text. Because then, yeah, I don't know. It feels like quite, not clear. That's the word. It feels quite clear. But if it's not, feel free to, you can ask questions if you want, because I think I'll try and, I've got my notes now, so I'll go over my notes, and I'll try and give you a better understanding. And if you've got any theories of yourself, I would be interested, because, this is now an open theory of my own. So yeah, you heard that. Take note, do with what you will, experiment with it. Tell me any of your spirit experiences, or stuff like that, and maybe this will give a bit more credibility to some paranormal ideas, maybe. But yeah, because you do sometimes hear. I was watching this girl, and she was talking about this creature like coming in, haunting people in a graveyard. Okay, now if these things live outside of our time and they're faster than us, they could potentially be time travelers. You know what I mean? They could say, well, I want to go to this certain era because it was particularly good, And maybe that's why you don't see necessarily a huge amount of hauntings these days, because maybe we're just living a really boring reality. Do you know what I mean? And maybe all the good stuff is in the past, so that's where all the hauntings want to be. So we'll take that for what you will. Maybe you don't want to be haunted. Maybe it's probably not a good idea to live in a good world. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me. I did write it. I didn't. In this time, I did write it. But yeah, do you know what I mean? That would make sense for a creature to walk in and out of our level. Well, I don't know. Yeah. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one, which was what God symbiosis. We're going to talk about spirits. There's some spirits that I want to talk about, or not. Well, after the symbiosis, just keep tuned, stay tuned, and stay on the lookout, okay, for the UFOs, ooh, and all that sort of stuff, hey, and keep those camcorders handy. See you in the next one. Alright, see ya, bye. Lovely. Well, I didn't even finish my tea. Just finish my tea. And hopefully you're having your tea too. Let's just have a little tea moment. And I will try to listen to, through the ethos, through the sure. Oh, that'll do as well. You got stuff. Oh. Well, that's just rude. I said I was going to sit with you and drink my tea, but I've drunk it now. So your tea, if you made it at the same time as mine, probably the same temperature. So drink it down and have another one if you want. Tea. Okay, bye. Love you.